So following a huge upset on the Moses Ituama undercard, Shakiel Thompson loses to Brad Pauls. And, in a fight that was quite competitive, but I do think throughout the fight, Shakiel Thompson was winning the rounds. He was, for the most part, doing more volume and landing more shots. But Brad Pauls was competitive the whole way through and was closing the distance and landing his own shots. But, round by round, I do think Shakiel Thompson was en route to win this fight. And I think was even the favourite going into this. Of course, he was 15-0. And Brad Pauls had lost twice before. Brad Pauls is although he's not a fighter to be underestimated, he was, overlooked probably quite easily because of the record, 2 losses against an undefeated prospect here. But Shakiel Thompson really hadn't fought anyone on the level of Brad Pauls before. And Brad Pauls is a guy who's a former English middleweight champion and did fight for European honours as well. And of course, with this fight, he did win the IBF Intercontinental or International belt, one of the two. And like I said, Brad Pauls, he remained competitive throughout the fight, remained scrappy, remained awkward, would get low and swing some shots in there, close the distance, swing some shots in there, and just was trying to give Shakiel Thompson a tough night until he was able to land the clean shot that would end the night. It was in the 9th round. Early in the 9th, he drops him. Shakiel gets up and seems to be okay, but then Brad Pauls really turns on the heat and applies the pressure and gets him out of there, drops him again, and referee waves it off, in a fight where, like I said, Brad Pauls probably was losing that. He was getting outboxed low-key. But he showed that he's got the heart, he's got the resilience, and he's able to stay in there for the duration, Shakiel Thompson, even though he was winning the fight, he was definitely slowing down. You could definitely see that his work was becoming more laboured, whereas Brad Pauls was comfortable and still, for the most part, at times able to keep the same pace. I think it was in the 3rd or 4th round, Shakiel Thompson landed a nice body shot on Brad Pauls that did seem to affect him a bit. But don't play with your food. If you've got your guy hurt, you need to get him out of there, or you need to at least be able to maintain a lead, which unfortunately Shakiel Thompson wasn't able to do in this fight. Now, you look at Shakiel Thompson's resume and he's really not fought anyone great. Brad Pauls is definitely the first name on his resume that you recognise. So you've got to wonder what's next for Shakiel Thompson after a loss like that. Like I said, it wasn't the worst performance in the world, and, there's definitely room for improvement. But the way boxing is cutthroat. And if Shakiel Thompson wants to be taken seriously at a certain level, you need to be beating former English champions. Not to disrespect or anything like that to Brad Pauls, because I do think Brad Pauls is a good boxer, and I think he's tough and a tricky customer for sure. But if Shakiel Thompson, reckons he can get to a level, a European fringe world level, he's going to need to beat the likes of Brad Pauls, and he didn't on this occasion. So, I'm sure Queensberry will be rethinking the plan for him, but we'll see. I'm sure Shakiel Thompson can, I'm sure he can recover from this and he'll be back better, bigger and better and stronger than before. Maybe even moving up a weight class is the option, because he looked big at 160. He did look big. He's a big dude though. So, but who knows? Who knows? Nothing's come out of the Shakiel Thompson camp as of now. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What did you guys think of that fight? Was it a huge upset? It was a huge upset for me. I can say that. I was not expecting Brad Pauls to win that, even though I think Brad Pauls is a good boxer, like I've said many times. Good boxer, boxed at a good level. But Shakiel Thompson, he's big, but he's not fought anyone on the level. And that was the thing. That was always going to be the main stick-up for this fight, because he's not fought anyone near as good as Brad Pauls. No one near. Look at the records of the guys he's fought. Journeyman. They've all been journeyman up until now, and that's okay, I guess. It's okay, I guess. At 15-0, not really. Because if you're really a guy who's going to be, okay, we're going to seriously put you through your paces, by your 10th, 11th, 12th fight, you should be fighting for British belts. You should be fighting for British belts. So, like George Liddard is. And George Liddard just beat a former European middleweight champion. So, there's different career trajectories there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.